and welcome back to Gamer Bargains. Today we're going to be doing a Tech Tuesday. I know I haven't done them for a while. I kind of got out of it, so I'd like to get back into it. So today on Tech Tuesday, we're going to be building a theoretical PC that, kind of like, I guess most people use PC Parts Picker, but I'm just going to go over the parts on Newegg. Like, we're going to look at Newegg right now and see what kind of hardware we can get, and if we could put together a budget gaming PC. So let's check it out. So we're over here on Newegg, and the first thing we're going to start with is going to be everybody's biggest question, the graphics card. So we've actually, this is on Newegg right now, and they got a GTX 1650. So you're going to be getting a GTX 1650, so this is geared for somebody who's like kind of just trying to get into PC gaming right now in this crazy, time we're in right now with the world silicon shortage, as well as, scalpers and everybody else, and miners and everybody wants GPUs right now. But I think this card gets a little overlooked. So there's a couple versions of the GTX 1650, but this one is the 4 gig GDDR6. So it does have the GDDR6, which is, it has more throughput through the memory, so which will help, with graphics and stuff like that. So this is a bundle right here where you get the card and a Asus TUF 450 watt 80 plus bronze power supply, which is pretty cool. So, you get a power supply and you get the card. So if the power supply was, we'll say, $65-ish, you know what I mean? You're probably paying like $2 something for the card. So not super bad. So still on the expensive side, I know, but it's what we have to deal with here. So I decided I usually never do this, and it's just because of CPU prices. So I went with the Intel i5 10400F from Comet Lake. It is a 6-core 12-thread processor. It is not unlocked, so you won't be able to do any overclocking, so we don't need a Z-series board or anything and all that other stuff. It's not going to utilize any of those things. So, it's pretty cheap for what it is. It's $150. You get, 6 cores, 12 threads, and you could go AMD, but the processors are more, as well as the boards for the B550s are also a little bit more. So if you want AMD, you'll spend a few more dollars. I would say between $30 to $60 more dollars. So if you want to go Team Red, you can. But I think Team Red has slowly shifted their pricing, because they used to be, a little bit cheaper than Intel. Now it's Intel's turn to be a little cheaper, and Team Red's going to be a little more expensive. So yeah, the i5 10400F is what I went with. 6 cores, 12 threads, 2.9 gigahertz, and it'll boost up to 4.3. So that's not bad either. That's pretty good. So, and you get you get the basic heat fan, heat sink on here, which is fine. You're not going to overclock it, so it doesn't matter. So then I went with, now I chose to go with a little more expensive, motherboard here, because I wanted some more features, but there are cheaper options, so know that. There are some motherboards that are in the $85 range, but they will be very basic, which kind of doesn't matter. It depends on what features you'd like, because, do you want more than one M.2? So this particular board, if you look at this, it has one M.2 directly below the CPU, as well as an M.2 for a Wi-Fi card, and then another M.2 all the way below the chipset down there in the bottom right-hand corner. So lots of room for, expansion and stuff like that. I really, really like that. And the VR, this thing, it has tons and tons of features. So I really like this board. And if you need more memory, right, look, 128 gigabytes supported, which I don't think you'd ever need that much, but it's expansion for down the road, right? That's what you you don't want to buy something that you're there and you can't really go any further, because then you're just buying new stuff all the time, right? And you don't want to be at that point either. So I think this board has some room to grow into, so that way you could buy upgrades down the road, and you could probably hang on to this for quite a few years, right? So it's always about expandability. So I think for the price, $112, it's probably one of the best budget deals that I found, with all these options that are on it. I really like this. ASRock has been coming out with some really good options. So let's talk about memory here. Now, I could probably go with it cheaper with a slower kit, but as far as price goes, this is the cheapest I could find, which is crazy. So you could, so this is about 3200 megahertz Ripjaws B series. I have this in all of my rigs. I had it in my Chia miner, which I gave away to Jake. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. I gave away a $1,000 gaming PC. So I use this stuff in all my rigs, and I love this stuff. I always use Ripjaws. I've been using this stuff since I was, started building computers, pretty much almost. Really good stuff, like Ripjaws. Good price too, $82. That's pretty good. I've seen it down lower than that. I've seen it like $69, $70, but it's a little above normal, but not by much. Now, this is a pretty good deal. So they have a deal right now on Newegg. It's usually $74.99. It's $59.99. It is the Samsung 980 right here. So, which is pretty good. It's a NVMe SSD. So, I mean, you could, see, got the VNAND. It's a pretty good NVMe drive. Let's go down here to the specs here. So see, up to 3100, up to 2600, and that's pretty good. I mean, for $60 and it's a half terabyte, that's pretty good. So, I'm pretty happy with that kind of performance right there. So let's look at, we've already looked at all these. So this is the case I went with. I was trying to find an NZXT case on here. But I couldn't find one. I don't know why. I don't know if they don't have them anymore. So I found this one, and this is a different brand that I haven't gone with. But I was trying to think of something budget friendly, but had some good choices. So I wanted to try a new brand that I hadn't really went with before. And there's some things that I look for in a case that I want to build in, right? And the first thing, this is what's going to be number one, is huge, is airflow. You always see these on these cases here, right? Like, you always see this part right here, just solid glass with a couple little tiny little air vents there, or whatever it is, okay? That is not optimal, right? If you want to keep your system cool, because that's the name of the game, is the cooler you keep your system and everything runs cooler, the longer it will last. The better it is for all the components, the more performance you'll get out of all your components. So, name of the game is keeping it cooler, right? So, this right here being just like a huge, this front, just mesh panel like that right there. I like it. It does come off, but, probably the way they have it set up, I can't tell if there's a dust filter on the back. If there is, that's awesome. If not, you might be dusting quite a bit, but I don't mind that all the time. So it does have a power supply basement, which is pretty nice. And there's some grommets there for around where you do your cables and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy, So if you look here at some of their other photos here, so you could, top mount a radiator here, front mount the radiator. They also have these zip tie cables in all this area here for cable management. So that's all, it's pretty well thought out, I think. I like the front IO, how it's in the top here, and it doesn't, it gives that nice, just clean edge in the front. I think that is what everybody likes. I do like this tempered glass here. This is magnetic right here. So it just sticks right here. So you could just open and close this easily without all the thumb screws and all that other stuff. I kind of like those a little bit better. So you got room for two regular 2.5-inch SSDs, as well as 2 mechanical hard drives, your power supply. So this is all the support they have for it. So right here you could do 3 120 millimeter fans in the front, and these are all the radiator supports they do: 120, 140, 240, 120, 140, 240, 280, rear 120 obviously, and it's micro ATX and mini ITX. So I mean, you guys, this is a pretty good case to get into, especially for $75. So that's kind of what I chose. So this is what I chose. And I know it's a little overpriced for what you're getting, but if you guys want to get into gaming right now, this has been the best it's been, I think, for a long time. So anyways, guys, I wanted to do a quick comparison to show you. I'm in the pre-built section right now for Newegg, and I mean, look at this. Here's a, where'd it go? Here's an iBuyPower, right? You get a 10th series i5, which is the same i5 I chose, only 8 gigs of DDR4, which I showed you 16, a 1 terabyte hard drive, and a 240 gig SSD. I kind of like being around the 500 gig mark for my SSDs, and you could always buy a mechanical drive down the road. They're cheap. So now this price tag was $850. It's on sale right now for $800, but it only comes with the GTX 1050 Ti. That is horrible. The 1050Is were never very good cards. They were horrible cards. Just wanted to show you that you could still get an okay, budget gaming rig out there if you're trying to get into PC gaming right now on a budget. So you could definitely build your own. And you can always upgrade this card down the road. And you could keep all these other parts are super good. So you could just wait for the GPU prices to come down more, you know what I mean? And then, get yourself an RTX 3060, So anyways, guys, it's been great. I will see you next time.